look, clearly the Lions just got destroyed by the Ravens. But I want to know, because what happens when these kind of games happen, people start to overreact, right? And maybe some people are not reacting enough. Maybe there are things to actually be concerned about here. But I want to know your thoughts around a few things. So Brant, I want to start right out of the gate. Do the Lions need to make a trade right now? Like, are they missing some top tier talent to truly make a run this year? Is that something, or is it nothing? Because it feels like, although they are deep, although this is Brad Holmes' team, and Brant, we've slapped the table on all of that stuff. I'm wondering, are they missing a piece or two that they should push all their chips in this year and go ahead and make a move for a top tier guy?
Yeah, Dave, I think it's pretty obvious right now. James Houston, they are missing him really bad right now. They are not getting the pressure that they need to get on. Lamar Jackson had his way all day long, and it was very apparent that James Houston was missing last week. And it puts the defense into bad spots when you can't get pressure from both edges. And so I think that if they were to push all their chips in, you get that late first round pick. Maybe you're able to flip it for something. I don't think you're going to be able to land a guy like Chase Young. I know that was kind of the hope at the beginning of the year, but there's not to say that there aren't options out there for Brad Holmes to go get. And if I had to pick a spot right now for them to go ahead and grab, I would ask for them to go get a defensive end, Dave. I don't know where you fall on that. It's something though.
Well, yeah. Well, that's actually where I want to lead into next. So, let's start there on the defensive line. It seems like to me, Brant, that obviously you've got a star in Aiden Hutchinson. He's still a second year guy. I think we tend to forget. This D line they're deep. They rotate a lot of guys in, but I'm wondering, do they like? Is it something or is it nothing? Do they need a star this year to make this an elite D-line? Or can they use the Kaminsky and get James Houston back and can they make this work? Isaiah Buggs, can they make this work? Or do they legitimately need to go make a trade? I don't know if Chase Young is available. The Commanders aren't necessarily out of the NFC East conversation, but do you think it's worth dropping, or Burns or whoever, is it worth dropping a first, second, third round pick on one of these guys? Is this the year to go ahead, and is that the move, I guess, to bolster that D-line out of all the other priorities? Because, we can talk outside cornerback. We can talk about wide receiver. We can talk about running back potentially. Is that D-line the priority right now? Absolutely.
I don't know, Dave, where Derek Barnes fits right now. He seems to be kind of a lost man without a cause. He's tried the edge. He's kind of tried linebacker. He's just kind of he has games where if you have a pocket passer, he's more effective. But Lamar just torched everybody on that defensive line, Dave. They want to rush the quarterback. They want to get after the quarterback. And that left so many running lanes for Lamar to get to. And I think we're starting to see a trend. We talked about Geno Smith not being exactly a running quarterback. We know that, Dave. You and I are not stupid. But he is what you would call a mobile quarterback. And he kind of had his way against the Lions' defensive line. And that's the same thing we saw Lamar do. Now, Lamar did it at such a higher clip and a more embarrassing clip because the team was bad all around. The offense saved them in the Seahawks game. The offense had no answers on Sunday. And I think it was just a glaring issue, Dave. And of course you're going to have stinkers, Dave. I talked about it last week, right? I said this is a bad spot for the Lions. I took the Ravens minus the 3 points. And that's just because that was a hard spot for the Lions to go into. But I think if you're coming away from this thinking that the Lions have a solid D-line right now, it feels more of middle of the road. And why not go all in when your secondary feels a little middle of the road?
Well, Brant, let's go there next. So, I think Lions fans have about had enough of Will Harris and Cam Sutton. I love Cam Sutton, and he can be your top cornerback. But if he's your top cornerback, and on the other side of him is who? I mean, Emmanuel Mosley was supposed to be that guy. He played like 2 snaps this year, and he's done. Brent, that is, although like that D line for me, I'm like, yeah, they could use somebody. They absolutely could use somebody else there. But these cornerbacks, Will Harris is getting torched. Like, and Jerry Jacobs is like, he has his games, but like, I'm really concerned about the other side of the football there. And I know you've heard Patrick Surtain and that possibility. I don't know what it takes to go and get a guy like that, but that to me is almost like a higher priority to get that other side, outside of Sutton figured out, because right now, man, it is ugly. It is. And if you're going to compete for a Super Bowl, compete for the NFC this year, it ain't going to be with Will Harris out there doing what he's been doing. I feel like his time as a Lion has got to be coming up soon.
Dave, I agree with you 100%. I don't think that the secondary with Will Harris can survive much longer. But how many times do we talk about a Super Bowl run? What gets you there better than a better secondary, Dave, right? We always talk about rushing the passer and how those turnovers can happen like that. So that's why I think the bigger need is there. Although to your point, I do like when you talk about getting James Houston back. Some of that comes back, and I mean, he will be back this season. But I don't know how much longer you can survive. Like, I know the schedule is not great and stuff like that, but it makes me nervous that you go out and get a Pat Surtain, and guess what? Your secondary still has holes, when you might as well try to have the absolute best defensive line you can kind of have and go 07 Giants on them. You know, that's just kind of where my mind goes, Dave.
Yeah, no, I agree. Next position I just want to talk about real quick is something or nothing in terms of like Jahmyr Gibbs. I know you got to see him finally like make a play, take off, get his touchdown, all of that. I don't know how you felt, Brand. I wanted to know your thoughts, because I did not love, even before the game, Dan Campbell's comments on how they were going to use Jahmyr Gibbs, which was basically like, we understand Monty is out. That's a huge blow to our team. But look, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to step right into that same role. And he was even pushed by some reporters to say, like, so you want to use him basically like exactly like you used Monty? And he's like, yeah, like we believe he can be that guy. And I just do not think that Gibbs is that guy. He is not built to run between the tackles like that. And I think he's being asked to do something that is just not his skill set. He's good enough to make some plays here and there, but does that worry you at all? I mean, I know Monty, he will be back. He will be back. But moving forward with this running game, which when Monty is healthy, this is like the heart of your team. Like, that running game made Jared Goff's life easier. Like, that offense is, definitely a top 10 offense, potentially a top 5 offense. Concerned at all about the run game and how they're using Jahmyr Gibbs?
Dave, I am very concerned. Have you watched the Miami Dolphins play, Dave? Do they run Devin A-Chain through the gaps? Do they run him through the tackles? Absolutely not. He's not built for that. Like, he's in certain packages that they bring in, and guess what? Mike McDaniel, as a running game coordinator, he's figured it out. Jahmyr Gibbs is that weapon. Like, he is that dude that goes in motion, gets through the in cut, and he's on the edge. Like, that's just where they need to go with him. And I understand David Montgomery being out, it's a killer. It absolutely is. But you got a guy like Craig Reynolds, he's not going to blow anyone's top off. I get that as well. But I don't think running Gibbs into the line 15, 20 times a game is healthy either, Dave. And honestly, I think it plays to his psyche. That's not who he wants to be. He wants to be A-Chain. He wants to be Alvin Kamara. He wants to be those dudes. You know, he wants to have 7 receptions, maybe 7 carries. But carries that are on the edge or trying to get to the edge. Like, he doesn't want to be the guy that's running between the tackles.
I completely agree. Nothing else to add on that. I just wanted to know where your head was at with that. It's like, it almost seems like square peg round hole. Like, it's not working. He's a talented player. You got to put him in a position to be successful. Brant, last one here before we just kind of quickly talk about the upcoming Raiders game and just we'll put a bow on this Ravens game and we will certainly move on. Jameson Williams. I know. I feel like we talk about him literally every week on the podcast. He was the lowest graded player on the Lions roster in Pro Football Focus this past game. Him and Goff just are not on the same page. They keep preaching time, reps. The Lions fans are split. Some are totally like, I'm done with J-Mo. Like, I don't know if they want to trade him, but like, I'm done with him. We are fine without him type of a. But there's a whole nother pocket of the Lion fan base that's like, look, he just let him get into the system. Let him get reps. He will be okay. Let him build chemistry with Goff. I know he had the touchdown the week before. We were singing his praises, and he tracked that ball down out of the sky. But, man, another game this past weekend where not only was he non-existent, he was arguably troublesome for the offense. And so, Brant, where are you at in the Jameson Williams debate? Are you in the camp of just give him more time and more reps? He's going to be really good, or are you like, dude, I'm done with J-Mo at this point till he proves otherwise?
Dave, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ride the fence on this one. Like, I don't think you can change much from what you're doing right now. You're not going to give him more reps, but I'm not done with him either. Like, I need you to stay focused. I need you, when you are in there, to be laser focused and being in the right spot at the right time. And you can tell Jared Goff is frustrated at times with him. Like, he has physical frustrations with him. And I think the coaching staff does as well. And you and I are not inside the locker room. This is not the type of show where we have insider information. We don't know anything like that. But you and I both question what's going on between the ears, because he continues to do boneheaded things or not to be in the right place at the right time. And physical talent, Dave, this is the NFL. It's not always going to take you where you want to go. Everybody's a dude out here, okay? So understand that. And I think he's learning the hard way, like, hey, the film sessions, they have to be done. The blocking, it's got to be better. You want to see the field time, you know how you've got to earn it out here. So I think when you watch guys like that were playing for the Ravens, he wouldn't play for them right now. Like, Zay Flowers is miles above him, Dave. And that's sad because, like, Zay Flowers is a talented dude. I don't know if he's J-Mo talented, but he sure as heck made the Lions look silly on Sunday, didn't he, Dave? And, I mean, this is a kid from Boston College. He didn't get the offers from Alabama. Like, he's a go-getter. Amon-Ra St. Brown, same thing. And that dude's in your locker room. That's a dude you can take advice from. Like, get it together is what I want to say.
I'm right there with you. I'm kind of on the fence, too, with this. I asked the question because I'm in the camp of, like, look, you don't give up on a guy you traded up to get that high and clearly believed in. You just don't give up this many games into his career. I'll continue to be patient, but Brant, you named one of the guys. There were two guys that I wanted to as I was thinking about asking this question. One was Zay Flowers, who has 5-6 games under his belt, similar, maybe a few more reps than J-Mo. Zay Flowers is doing it. You already know Zay Flowers is going to be that dude in that offense. Brant, Jordan Addison, you saw him Monday Night Football against arguably the best defense in the league. Justin Jefferson goes down. They don't miss a beat. Jordan Addison was that dude. And so my question is, J-Mo was supposed to be that dude, and maybe he still will be. But Brant, we're almost a year and a half in. Now, I know that's unfair to say because the rehabbing, the ACL injury, the suspension, all of the stuff, I'm aware. The injury during this year's preseason, I get all of that. But it is kind of concerning to me that he's not showing flashes yet of being that dude. So, am I out on him? No, I'm not. But I'm a little bit more cautious about this thing really working out. So we will see. Brant, before we get into the betting segment here, I think I will speak for both of us when I say Lions fans, settle down. It was one game. You don't need to hit the panic button. And I don't think everybody is, but there's a certain part of the fan base, right, that goes right down this. They go right down the old pathway of SOL. Just when we thought that they were going to be good, they go out and they were the Lions. Like, no, be done with that. Be gone with that. That's not that team. Not these guys. I'm not buying into that narrative at all. I think it was one game. Even great teams lose games like this. They do. And I think Dan Campbell's right. I think you can get a lot better from this, and there's a lot of hope and optimism moving forward with this team. So I want to just chill everybody out on that front. Brant, actually,